Frieren is back, and as always, it's a visual masterpiece and there's plenty of lavish action animation. But when this show is at its best is when it's focused on the everyday and the mundane. And nowhere is that clearer than episode 2, where in any other show, this fight in the latter half with its dramatic speed ramping, detailed effects work, and unexpected tummy shot would attract all the attention. But in this show, it's overshadowed by a little puppet show performed for children in the town square a few minutes earlier. I haven't read the whole manga, but from the parts that I've seen, and from the opinions I've heard from people who have read the whole thing, the anime adaptation always seems to go above and beyond in fleshing out the ordinary details of the world and bringing to life its history and culture. Here, Frieren tells the backstory of the hero of the South who paved the way for her old party and slayed the demon Schlacht, the Omniscient. In the manga, this begins as a straightforward flashback. We see Schlacht and the hero as they literally are. Then, after the climactic moment, we switch over to a puppet show that's been going on just as the characters notice it. In this context, the puppet show works as falling action to close out the story by dissipating the tension and showing how the story has been passed through generations in this town. But the anime takes it a step further. We don't see the literal depiction at all, at least not until the hero describes his own future when he meets Frieren in the next scene. Instead, we can only observe the legend in the same way that Fern and Stark do, through the traces it's left behind in the world, the statue and the puppet show. As the story begins, we push in and join the excited children, becoming the audience of the puppet show, and when the curtain opens, it fills the whole frame. Immediately, the hero of the South in puppet form looks weirdly realistic, like almost uncanny. You might have assumed, like I initially did, that this was either rotoscoped or CGI put through a filter. That would have made sense for a bit like this too, but no, it's not. Well, you saw the title and thumbnail. It's animated by hand, but with real physical puppets and real recorded physical puppet performance as reference. This scene was storyboarded and animated entirely by Keiichiro Saito, who directed season 1 of the show but has stepped back to direction cooperation, or co-director, on season 2. For a little background, Saito also directed Bocchi the Rock, which did a ton of unconventional stuff that broke the limits of the medium. And would you believe it, he's also a certified doll poster. He has a whole Twitter account where he almost exclusively posts pictures and videos of his little dolls and figurines, enjoying life and just experiencing the world around them. Saito designed the puppets, which were then crafted into real physical objects by the puppet troupe Pook, which has a long and storied past. Quick detour, this incredibly cool theater where they perform on the border of Shibuya and Shinjuku was built in 1971, but the troupe itself was part of the foundation of modern puppetry in Japan after World War I. It was founded by a bunch of lefties in 1929 on anti-war and pro-free expression ideals, but under pressure from the government during World War II was forced to change its name multiple times and disband, before reforming in 1947, which was a little bit before Tadahito Mochinaga would return to Japan and begin to popularize his style of stop-motion puppet animation that would later become the staple of American company Rankin Bass. In fact, the name Pook, or the first 2 letters of it, come from the word for puppet in Esperanto, the language constructed under the misguided but well-meaning idea that conflict was caused primarily by language barriers and that having a universal language would foster world peace. Anyway, you can see the thought put into these designs in the notes Saito left. The hair should be the same material as the rest of the head, the swords should be able to fit under the cloak until he takes them out, but especially in the design for Schlacht. In the single manga panel where we actually see the puppets up close, they're basically simplified versions of the real character designs. But Saito notes that the person who made the puppets in-universe wouldn't have seen the real demon, so the puppet is a wildly exaggerated interpretation of what he would look like. He has 3 eyes, purple skin, he's nearly twice the height of the hero. Saito specifies a flexible neck so that he can hunch forward, and inflexible legs so that he glides like a ghost. In the final animation, you can see the difference it makes to have that precise reference footage. All the movements are timed out manually, you can see the timing charts Saito left for the in-between animators, but you just could not get realism like this without that reference. They're a little freaky looking, as wooden puppets often are, and they swing head first, always led by the strings from above, sometimes rotating into positions that are, I'm not sure how to describe it, I guess unflattering? Like, you wouldn't draw a frame like this unless it was based on a real frame of video, you know? The pose doesn't feel designed. Even the smear frames, instead of being jagged intensifiers or big swooshy connectors between well-defined poses, they're painfully realistic little blobs of blur. We see the story not as it was, but as a legend interpreted through culture, as slightly scary wooden puppets. But only a certified doll poster would go so far as to have the puppets birthed into reality, only to use them as reference for a total of just under a minute of animation. But it makes the world feel that much more lived in. Like I said at the start, this is where the show is at its best. Frieren haters are having a moment on the internet right now, and more power to them. One of the main complaints seems to be that it's boring, and depending on how you're using the word boring, I think that's true, but I actually have the exact opposite problem. I don't think Frieren commits hard enough to being boring, and I'll touch on that and what it really means to be boring and more in what I think will be my next video, so keep an eye out for that and consider subscribing if you haven't already. Thanks for watching, and a big thanks to my supporters on Patreon whose names are all physically carved into my computer screen, which makes it kind of hard to do my job, but makes it so I can never forget to be grateful, and whose names I will now read out. Smackintosh, Scorpionte, Katie L, Serial Isle, Leia Pico, Newtaf, Patrick Davison, Arborix, June, Dr. Yola McSwag, Grav G, Joe, Fogunugget, Annie, Sammy Z, Nozami Corgi, Machu Stepek, Juicebox, Bloodsbane, Orwing, and Chris Ushi, as well as all the other names you're seeing on the screen right now. See you next time.